We've all had that one person in our life that we've stayed in a relationship with for too long, and no matter what our intuition or how our body was responding to them, we still decided to stay. We decided to ignore how we were feeling and then ended up, staying too long to have a bigger mess of a relationship. And a lot of the times when you end up, and I have been in the situation previously in my last relationship with a woman who I believe had a lot of traits of covert narcissism. And at one point I thought maybe I'm the bad one. Maybe I am the wild one, right? So I did get therapy and a psychologist. She refused to get therapy and a psychologist. No matter how many times I scheduled her appointments for her, she would cancel them and say there was some kind of crazy reason why she couldn't go, no matter how much she kept stating she needed help, because this person was deeply wounded. And this person's reaction towards her traumas was to create means of safety. And that means of safety for some people means to be in control. I kind of liked it, right? And I stayed in that because it gave me a sense of safety, because I liked having more of a masculine woman be more in control, because I'm naturally more in my divine feminine energy of nurturing, being intuitive, caring, and supportive, until I, recently stepped back in last year into my more masculine energy and combined both together. Either way, though, this person needed to control the relationship and the dynamics between it and create scenarios where they felt safe, even if that meant pushing me away, as they were slightly avoidant. And I wouldn't doubt that they were afraid of intimacy after all they've been through. I've been hurt in the past too. And I also went into an avoidance from at one point being anxious until I found my middle ground, which is secure. Our main focus is when we get into these relationships and we allow somebody to manipulate us, even if we love them and we're trying to show up as much as we can, and especially if you find yourself to be in a supportive, loving empath, a supporter in the relationship, you don't want to give up on them. You want to do your absolute best, even if that means scheduling their therapy appointments, just because you want to see them shine, because you also want to do inner work on yourself. You want to make it work. And no matter how much I communicated things, this is the number one red flag, was when I would start to talk to her about her behavior, it was my fault. Her getting upset and drinking and throwing the remote or throwing my phone after going through my Snapchat, asking who are all these girls. And I'm like, those are literally your friends. And one of them is your sister. And she threw my phone. I'm like, all these people. These are all our friends. Literally everybody there, And I don't even message them that much, because I don't think I did. But it's like, how are you asking me who are all these people when you know who they are? Like, that's the wild way. We go to parties with them. We hang out with them. So somehow it's my fault. But then when I go through her phone, right? And I will never do this again, ever in my entire life. The moment I have to go through someone's phone means I do not have trust in the relationship and I want out. And if I don't trust them, they've given me a reason not to trust them. That's a huge lesson I've discovered. And I'm out. Very simple. I'll explain it. I'll let them know I'm out. Maybe I'll give the opportunity to shift if I set a correct boundary, if I choose to, right? Because this is a hard red flag for me if I lose trust. And that's not an easy thing to do, but yet it is. Either way, though, sidetrack. I have no idea where I was going with this. So she was messaging all of her exes and everything else. And this is what narcissists do. They'll keep their people that they've complained about in the loop. Because there's been times I've looked at it because I'm like, I'm feeling something's up. And every time my intuition was right. And then she would give me some weird, bogus reason on why they're talking, like that they messaged them first. And one time I actually saw the messages because they didn't get deleted right away. And this was horrible. I read the messages and stuff and I confronted her. And then what was wild was how I found out was because they had sent her a message that she didn't delete. She didn't delete it off the actual thing. So I read it. And then I'm like, what is this? Right? And then she's like, I'm sorry, blah. I didn't mean to. It won't happen again. Guess what? It happened again. They keep their people in the loop because they need to have another energy source ready. So a lot of times people who manipulate are just trying to find a sense of safety when they're in fear. And it's what happens. They try to control and manipulate the environment and the people around them to make sure that they have a way and a means to have their needs met. even after, or if they start feeling like somebody's leaving, because I was preparing to get out of that relationship. I didn't want to be in it anymore. And we would, have these arguments or conversations about her behavior, and somehow it gets flipped onto me. It's like, okay, at least I'm not actually talking to my ex, who I talked all this garbage about, who did this traumatic stuff to me. Why would I still be talking to them? That's wild, right? So I still stayed into it, trying to think like, okay, I'm going to try to be the best boyfriend ever. Enough about me. The moment you start to feel that unsettling feeling is the time to start listening to your body, because I had this feeling for a long time. And the problem is that I had a limiting belief that it was during this pandemic time where I didn't know where I was going to move right away and I couldn't figure it out. So I had to stay in this relationship to have safety, have a secure home, and be safe while I was trying to figure out my way out. And I could have left earlier. I could have left sooner. I could have just made it happen, right? And then I kept trying to make it work. So my body, though, would respond to her in really weird ways. There was times where she would say certain things to try to make me jealous and bring up other exes or something. And I'm like, it was just such a weird feeling, because I started getting chills and shivering, and my body was like, dude, like something is wrong here. And I couldn't figure it out because I was just starting to awaken more into my intuition and abilities. And it was a scary thing to keep ignoring myself, right? Because your body is a divine sacred antenna that can feel when people are manipulating you. Your body will literally feel it. You will feel the anxiety. Now, there is one thing to this, though, to keep in mind. This is not if it's like a one-time thing or every so often thing you feel this with somebody. It's if it's a consistent feeling with the same person over and over. And how do you tell with the difference? Go to someone that actually feels good to be around. Someone is not trying to manipulate you. You're going to feel much more settled in. And somebody who's trying to control you and manipulate the environment just to keep you in, because, narcissistic people, the moment they feel you leave, especially avoidant people, and avoidant people are very controlling most of the time. And they'll try to hook you back in and reel you back in. They'll love bomb you. And believe me, I got the craziest love bombs. So point is like, just verify. If it's a constant feeling, it's probably best to leave. They're giving you enough proof and evidence. Don't stay in a relationship that's gonna blow up, because eventually you may build up enough resentments, and you may get triggered and act in a way that you didn't want to act. And it's not worth it. And sometimes that has to happen, though. Sometimes that has to happen in order for you to grow and expand and realize that you don't want to act that way and you don't want to be in this type of relationship. So I challenge you, please listen to your body, the divine sacred antenna on how you're feeling around somebody who you think may be manipulating. It's not even think. Let go of the mind and the thoughts. If you actually feel like in your gut, in your chest, shivering or something, like you're shaking around this person, and it's a constant thing when you're around them, they're probably trying to control or manipulate you in a kind of way. They don't have a good intention for you. And I was always having full-on anxiety with this person. It was always like, oh man, I don't know what it's going to be like when she gets home. Everything has to be perfect. Everything has to be clean. Dinner has to be ready. Blah, 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 blah. It was just a mess. And if you find yourself like this, please, I highly hope the best for you, that you can figure out a way out and figure out a way in a loving way, in a graceful way, not like start calling them like a narcissist or manipulative or all this stuff. Just be like, figure it out for yourself and make that decision to start moving out of that, because maybe you grew out of the relationship. Maybe you expanded so much further that relationship isn't serving you anymore. Or maybe this part of this relationship that was meant to serve you was you to figure out what you want and what you don't want in a relationship, and for you to grow and set boundaries and be able to make that challenging decision to leave. I hope this helps. Comment, subscribe, hit that like button, helps the channel grow. Have a wonderful day. Much love and peace out. Peace out.